Hello, hello, everybody. How we all doing? Everyone is doing well. Loads of people here, and as you can tell, got like slight technical difficulties as always, but I think we managed to fix them. So if you have any lag issues, anything like that, please let us know in the comments, and then we can see if we can help them. Right, let's dive straight into things then. Welcome to the latest team challenge for the Witch's Den for our final live stream. Everyone excited to see what the teams have been cooking up? I know I am. But first, let me just quickly introduce myself, right? So I'm Timothy Dries. I'm the founder and creative director of Beyond Extent. And with me today, I have Sunny. Do you want to introduce yourself as well?
I'm Sunny. I'm the back end of the team challenges. I do a lot of the behind the scenes at Beyond Extent. It's been really great to see what you've all cooked up. I want to extend a huge thank you to all of our mentors and judges. They did an amazing job, especially our mentors keeping everyone on track and providing some amazing feedback. It's been awesome to see the progress that you've all made, and I'm super excited to be here.
Give me just a second. We get some comments from lag again, so we're going to try one more thing, and then we'll see if that works. All right. Thank you so much for those comments. We'll see if that works now. Video is laggy, but the audio is good and fluent. Okay, that's good. Good. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. And thank you for your beautiful introduction as well, Sunny. Glad to have you with us, as always. Right. Let me introduce you to what the team challenges are then. So the team challenges are these challenges where we put 5 random people into a team for a total of 16 teams in total this time around. And then we let them basically create their own environment in 5 weeks, which is freaking crazy if you think about it in just the terms of time investment. So all the environments that we're going to be seeing going forward, those are all made in 5 weeks. Keep that in mind as we're going to be looking at them. So yeah, I'm going to boost up Sunny as well. Sunny was a bit quiet. Sorry for that, Sunny. Right. So before we dive into the introduction of the judges, which we will go to in just a minute, let me introduce you to all of our mentors. So we have Lloyd, Verena, Adam, Helena, Scott, Lewis, and then myself. So yeah, a beautiful team of mentors this time around. The responsibility for the mentors was that we were basically responsible for guiding the teams through the whole process with like weekly check-ins, making sure that they were all aligned with the milestones that we set up, and making sure that the team keeps on track and that the communication is fluent as well. Hmm. Let's see. I'm trying to keep up with the comments as well. Some people are still having some issues as well. Make sure to turn up your streaming quality too. Hopefully that should help. Right. Next step is introduction of our judges. I'm going to start off with Johan William Luffler. Unfortunately, Johan can't be here. This is because we had to make some last minute adjustments of if because we had Kevin Brunt before, but they were preoccupied with someone else. So Johan kind of stepped in to help us out with the judging of the finale last minute. So thank you so much for doing that. That's really, really helpful. Next, we have Rishab. So welcome, Rishab. Let me add you to the call as well. Here we go. Welcome, Rishab. How are you doing?
Hello, very good. Hope everyone is doing good.
Yeah. And so if you want to give yourself like a quick introduction, like what do you do? What is your role? Where do you work? All that kind of stuff.
Sure. So, I am currently working as a lead environment artist at Crytek. I've been in the industry for almost 14 years now. I started in an outsourcing studio, worked there for almost 7 years. Then I moved here to Germany in Berlin to work with Ubisoft Berlin. And now I've been with Crytek for a few months now. Currently, I'm working on Hunt Showdown. I don't know how many of you know about it, but if you don't, like, it's a wonderful game. Everyone should play it. What else? And yes, you all put me in a tough position for choosing the winners, and I'm just mind blown by the type of work and quality of work that is getting done. It is just fantastic to see. Great for our industry. I think I'm so happy about that. At some point, I was thinking, will people not join our industry, and what's going to happen in the future? But it's secure. I'm so glad. Thanks for the opportunity, Timothy, as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
that's
so
it.
much for being here, man. Like, really appreciate you taking the time. And I know that we haven't made it easy. So, well, I mean, that's more up to the team rather than me. So the teams did a great job. Cool. And then next we have Zara Khan. I'll add you to the screen as well. So welcome, Zara. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. So a bit about me is that I actually used to be an architect before I started working in games. I started with realistic environments and then I slowly moved to stylized environments. My first job was at Emerald City Games. I was there for 5 years, and currently I'm the staff environment artist at Fortis Games. And I do have to say this, that anything I say does not represent Fortis Games. Those opinions are of my own. But, it was really nice to see realistic work and stylized work and everybody working together as a team. Again, like Rishab said, it was hard for me to choose, the winner. Everybody had their good points in each and every piece that I saw. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's again not easy to be in this position. So thank you so much for coming on, Zara. Happy to have you with us. We're getting some comments as well. People are loving that you got like an architectural background too, which is really cool to see. I think that's yeah, that's not that common necessarily, right? So yeah, happy to have you with us. Right. Let's go straight into stuff then. So we're gonna go into the entries now. We're gonna open it up with team number one. So the first teams that we're gonna be seeing here, team 1, 2, 3. They are all stylized teams, so keep that in mind. There's a little note on the screen as well for the stylized teams. And this is Team Spoopy. So let me hand it over to Rishab. What are your thoughts for this project?
Okay, so let me just scroll over. All right. So my feeling on the scene was like composition and the theme is very strong. I think I just love the scale of various elements and the color tones which were used. I think that they played really well with the contrast. It's very extremely pleasant to look kind of a scene. You just look at it and you just feel good. It has a feel good factor for me. I think also the really good use of foreground and background elements. I think that also stood out for me. Yeah, that's my feeling.
Nice
I
one.
think if there's any improvement, I would say was on the overall lighting, just making it a bit more dramatic. That's the only thing. But I understand being a stylized scene, more you dramatize the lighting, it can look a bit more realistic. So I can see the struggle. Like it's a very well made scene in the end.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think it's also in terms of like the grand scheme of the challenge. I feel like this is also a team that kind of went a little bit in a different direction compared to all the other ones, where like Witches Den usually has like this thematic where it's going to be, well, spoopy to use a team name, right? But they kind of chose to go like a slightly different direction, which was like really interesting. Um, and then we got some comments in the chat as well saying that there's some people from Team One here as well, and then Helena is here too, the mentor of Team One. So all happy to see you. Thank you so much for well helping us organize as well and helping Team One through the whole challenge, which is amazing. Let me hand it over to you now, Zara. What do you think?
Hey, yeah, and I was so, again, working in the stylized industry, it's really nice to see stylized work as well. I would say I love the shape language. It's very stylized. I like the effort put on the props. I really did notice the witch's hat at the front, really cute prop, and then also the flower on the mushroom is really well done, very chunky shapes, very stylized. And I would say that the texturing is also really well done. Like I like the color palette and the colors. In terms of improvement, I would say it was hard for me to tell like what if it was a nighttime scene or a daytime scene. And I could tell it was supposed to be a nighttime scene through the gray block phase because I was like, it seems like they're going for a nighttime scene. So the lighting it was a bit tricky because at the same time it is stylized and you're doing a nighttime scene, there isn't like direct sunlight coming on to like the hut, so you cannot like have that direct ray coming in. But I would say maybe the global illumination or the indirect lighting could have been amped up a bit because it has a lot of harsh shadows in certain areas. So that would, and maybe like playing with blue tones, or if you're going for a nighttime scene, having a few blue tones. A lot of nighttime scenes do that, like introducing some blue tones or, moonlight kind of shining through. And then you have like the glowing light coming from the inside, kind of highlighting that, yes, it's nighttime or it's the daylight sun is, setting. So that would have really enhanced the scene. But overall, again, really nice work. Really nice to see this put together. And I love the storytelling as well.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm also a big fan of like all the flowing and like all the bits of movement in the scene as well. So yeah, great stuff for our first team kicking it off. So thank you, Team Spoopy. But that's not all of it. For every team, the judges kind of get to hand out awards, and then we also do a kind of like where people put in like their feedback. We then go through all that feedback and try to highlight individual people that kind of deserve like a little bit of an award themselves as well. So Sarah, you gave the visual storytelling award to this team. You've already mentioned that you really like the visual storytelling. Is there anything that you wanna add there?
Yeah, it was just really nice to see the little like table set up, and you could tell like there was a little party going on. There was some kind of activity going on, and then I love that when you enter, there's like the witch's hat in front. It's not so obvious, but it's like little like Easter egg, like oh, there's a little witchy theme over here, and it's just very, very whimsical to look at. So I really like that.
Mhm. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I love those little like attention to detail bits where like at first you don't notice them, but then you kind of stumble on them like as you discover more of it, which is really, really cool. Will obviously can't be here, but Will gave this team the composition award. So to give it a little bit of additional context here, all the awards that are given by the judges, they are also separate between stylized and realistic. So they can basically give like two of the same awards to different teams in different categories. And then Rishabh, you gave them both the composition and the thematic award as well. Yeah, I would say well deserved. Is there anything that you want to add with that?
No, I mean it's I just it for me it's like really good composition, theme wise as well. I saw there's this freshness in the theme. So yeah, nothing
Yeah.
else to add.
Awesome. And then I also have Will's comments as well. Again, unfortunately, Will can't be here, but I did go. We did go through like all of his comments as well, and then we added them to the description as well. This is something more for the teams to then read upon, right, rather than me reading them out. But I'll see if we can weave some in later. There's also a team shout out as well. So this is coming from like the team themselves, like anonymously submitting some of their feedback. And then we go through that feedback and we'll see if there's something that jumps out within the team. And then we had one comment that was Choto actually getting an award for being the Energizer Bunny, which is an award that we hand to the team or to the individual that went above and beyond. So this was recognized by some of the team members as well. And that's what the team members have to say. So Choto did put in more effort, especially at the end with the renders as well, like really stepping it up at the end and making all the renders look really, really cool. So yeah, job well done, Choto. And thanks for putting in that extra little bit of effort at the end. Nice one. So that was the first team of the stylized category. We're going to dive into team number 2, which is Moonlight Sorcery. I was the mentor of this team, so like take everything that I say with a bit of bias, you know, like I'm already adding that in here, but I really love the colors myself. I really love the team's approach to colors and like how they went for such a distinct color palette, which is really, really cool to see. So yeah, I'll hand it over to Zara this time. What do you think?
Yeah, this scene was really well done. I love the lighting, very nicely done, and the global illumination, the indirect lighting, very nicely done. I also love the storytelling in this scene where it seems like the tower broke, and I was looking at the gray block piece and I was like, oh, they first initially made it as a solid piece, but then they decided to break it, and there's like this magic holding it in place. And for me, this was really interesting, and I love the shape of like the silhouettes and the way the pine trees are glowing against the moonlight. And very nice sculpts as well for the house, for the door. Really well done. Very clean as well, composition wise. I would say for me this was the strongest piece composition wise. Very clean, very focused on what the point of interest is as well. So yeah, I just thought this was brilliant. If I had to give feedback, I would say having some foreground elements would have been nice, like to gain some layering of depth in the environment that was just kind of missing. Maybe like some rocks sticking out or like little blurry pine trees kind of showing at the front. The other thing is like it was hard for me to tell if there was a moon at the back or a planet because it was not glowing. It was like kind of like dark and gray. So maybe if that was like lit up for me to say, oh, that's the moon and that's the source of sunlight, moonlight coming into the scene, it would have helped. But overall, very nicely done.
Yeah, amazing. And I think that's also why I'm kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but that's also why you gave them 3 awards as well, right? So deservingly for the lighting, the composition, and the thematic award as well. Yeah, so that's awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you, Zara.
Yeah. I feel like they nailed it with everything.
Yeah. I feel like they really did. So yeah, that's your comments. Thank you so much, Sarah. Rishabh, over to you. What do you think?
Yeah, I think composition and the stylized aspect of the scene, it's really good. It's almost like unapologetically stylized. It's a bit hard to explain, but it's like these guys just went all in with the stylized aspect. I agree with Zara because I'm again like I'm just trying to look at the scene and what did not connect with me. Maybe the background was there, maybe that foreground missing element, and I think now that Zara was talking about it, I was like maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's what I feel was missing. One another thing which I feel was also missing was there is this, maybe the warm tones could have been exaggerated a bit more. There is this cool tone and warm tone language which is going on, and that was a bit confusing for me. The way the tower is going off, again exaggerating that part a bit more. And I'm not talking about physical disconnect is there, but you need to really understand what's going on there. So there are few things here and there, but this is one of the scenes which I feel like if just final few tweaks done, and this is going to be amazing. That's where I was also conflicting a lot in my head. uh, but I think Zara already gave really good feedback on this.
Mhm.
um, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Rishab. Yeah. Again, we've not made it easy for you guys, so yeah. And I think this is like just the whole thing is going to be a showcase for this, right? Um, cool. We have some comments in the chat as well. So the Escher is saying, I also love the colors so much. This is probably my favorite stylized piece. Okay, awesome. There's going to be one more, but we'll see if that changes your opinion. We'll see. And then Plagomantis is saying, I'm getting some Banjo Kazooie vibes. Yeah, there's something about that, like very like it's almost like traditional, like very clean, like stylized work that like kind of hints at that, right? Like the other two judges brought up so eloquently. Yeah, it's really good, and it's kind of reminiscent for that way. Also, a little sneaky. I think it's probably covered by our faces at this point, but there's also a little Easter egg where like one of the trees has like a Beyond Extent logo on it. So, which I didn't spot before. So shout out, shout out to the people for adding that in. That's cool. Oh God, it's so easy to win my heart, huh? Cool. Well, we'll go back to the awards page. Xenocon, we already talked about like her awards that she's given. Johan also decided to give this the thematic award as well, which is an award that we hand or that they hand to the teams that were like the most spot on when it comes to thematic adherence, right? And like just their interpretation of the thematic as well. So that's really cool to see. And then we have 2 awards for the team as well, and this is coming from, again, from the team themselves, like shouting this out. So Aina is getting a Swiss Army Knife Award, which is an award that we give out for people that just are like a good all-round person in terms of like their skill set. So just being involved with like multiple different sections of the scene, and that's why yeah, Aina got that award, so that's very, very well deserved. And then Leo also got an award for being the bridge builder, so like a great communicator and speaking up in feedback sessions and being open and helping out with like other fellow teammates. And that is symbolized here by a comment from the team where Leo was like constantly sharing so many helpful resources that was really, really helpful for the rest of the team. So yeah, congratulations to you both, and congratulations for the team on making such a beautiful piece. Slate is adding in the chat that the building is very nice, carrying the scene with storytelling. The rock sculptures are amazing as well. Yeah, I really like all the sculpts and like how elegant and clean they are. So really, really well done to the team. Right, moving straight on to team Maya. I barely knew her. This is the last of the stylized team. Also a little clever name. I like it. And then obviously, again, it's so easy to win my heart. We have the drums with like the Beyond Extent logo on them. Come on, like I'm already sold, you know. But yeah, I will hand it back to you, Rishab. Like, what do you think about the scene?
Okay, so I really love the storytelling and again a freshness in the concept. I feel like that's very cool. I think each element was well thought through and also instanced in a smart way. That okay, I could not see that lot of repetition which was going on. I think that is something which is really cool. Um, I feel like overall when I'm looking at the video again, right, like it just feels like this smoke particles which are being used. I feel like maybe they are getting used a bit too much. If it just distracts you overall from the scene. That's one thing, and the cloth as well. So FX side of the things, what we tend to do a lot is like we just tend to overdo it or overuse it. So either the smoke would have been a bit stylized, or just a few things here and there, and I think the scene could have been even better. So some aspects were a bit realistic, so that the balance was slightly off for me. But again, like the amount of work and the amount of hard work that has gone into this, it's really amazing to see.
Yeah, I agree. And
Yeah,
that's an
that's it.
interesting point. Interesting point that you bring up for like the amount of like particles and effects and things that can potentially distract you, right? So yeah, that's a very good point. Over to you, Sarah. What do you think?
Yeah, if I had to give like an award for details in modeling, I would give it to this team because there was just so much work done. The tree, the dragon sculpt, the candles, the barrels on the side. There was so much work done. Really well done and very detailed. For the amount of time that the teams had, I would say this team had like the most work done in terms of like the modeling. Um, but you know, my favorite part of the scene was the tree with the smoke coming out and like those little, you know, little dolls hanging from the trees. They're really well done. The stylization of the tree is amazing. But like Rishabh said, there was just a little inconsistency as to like some areas were very stylized, but then there were some props that were very realistic. So I feel like it was kind of hard for me to know what the overall style was because the tree is very stylized. But then when I looked at some of the props, the proportions were quite realistic. So there could have been more consistently done in terms of stylizing things. But then overall, I feel like the lighting coming at the tree was beautiful, very magical. I really like the idea of the red and the blue lighting. I do think that the red lighting was starting to look a little bit like neon lights. It wasn't reminding me of candle lights. It could have been toned down a little bit orange tones, some flickering of the candles. And then the focus is more on the point of interest is your tree. So I feel like the candles in front was really taking away the attention from the point of interest. But overall, I can see the effort done in the scene and it's just beautiful. Very well done.
Yeah, yeah, just an amazing amount of effort put in by this team. So congratulations. We're getting some cool comments from people as well. The Escher is maybe coming back onto their word. Maybe this is tied with like number two, like team number two actually. So yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying, right? It's so difficult for the judges to make like an accurate, an accurate vote, right? Because all the teams are so good. And a lot of people are saying that like, oh yeah, this is my favorite. The lighting is solid. I love the dragons. So like people commenting on like the amount of like detail that there is in the environment, which is really cool. I do have to say like just the dragon heads, like they're so well done, and they capture the lighting so nicely as well with like some of those like highlights on the edges. It's just really solid work. I mean, and that's just one thing in this entire environment, right? This environment is packed with a bunch of really cool stuff. So yeah, the tree gives me Kenya, Bridge of Spirits vibes. Yeah, just like very organic, very evocative, right? Like it's very cool to see those kind of trees. Yeah, beautiful work by this team. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to move on, right, to keep some sort of like sense of to give every team like their due in this presentation. So let's move it on to the awards and recognitions then. Rishabh, you gave this team the lighting award and the visual storytelling award. Is there anything that you want to add from your side to that?
I think lighting, as I mentioned in the moonlighting scene, right? Like the use of warm and cool tones is something which I think this team did well. Though I do agree with Zara's comment, like the warm lighting here, it's going more towards neon, right? So that balance could have been there, but still, like overall, the lighting and the way they got the highlights on all the assets. You know, one thing is making an asset, and just how can you showcase the assets properly. That's what they did really well for me. And the visual storytelling again, like the amount of assets, the amount of work, and every asset is there for a reason. That's what stood out for me when I'm giving it more about visual storytelling award. So
Yeah.
yeah,
100%. And that's so interesting
that's
to
been it.
see. I mean, we get to see the back end of it, right? Like we get to see like all the weeks that the teams have put in. And I know that this team was like very deliberate with like the placement of their assets. So in certain weeks, they got like a lot of feedback from their mentor and other people, just being like, "Hey, look, this is like a bit too eye catchy," and then the team was like very receptive to that. And then you see those like week by week changes, which is really good. But yeah, 100%. And then Will or Johan basically gave the same sort of awards as well, with like the comments saying that there's some really impressive organic sculpts. There's a good use of VFX to help the layer separation and the focus, and there's a strong theme and atmosphere, with also an impressive scope and detail, which is really important for these challenges, right? Because you got 5 weeks, and one of those weeks is like pre-production. So the full production cycle is only 4 weeks to go from like nothing, well, a block out in the beginning, to this at the end, right? So yeah, really, really amazing stuff that this team has managed to pull off. Yeah, and then I'll give some like team shout outs as well. So Elmo gets the Backbone Award, which is like a producer in the making thing, where he's an essential part of the organization and keeping the team on track. And that is why he gets the shout out from the team for really helping to pull the scene together, while also dealing with some like personal things like an illness, right? Which can happen. I mean, you're doing a bunch of stuff outside of work as well. So yeah, just really pulling that together, even when it's not that easy. So massive shout out to you, Elmo, for doing that. And then Darius and Samir both, they got the Energizer Bunny Award. So yeah, those are like individuals that went like above and beyond because they both worked very hard, and that was a shout out from the team as well. So massive shout out for both of those people as well. And then we'll move on to the next team, which is now we're going to be switching over to oh, looks like we lost connection here. What's happening? No. As always, technical difficulties. Let me quickly just like restart this. We'll be right back. Okay. Let's go into the presentation again. Sorry for this. Right. Okay. Let's skip through the stuff that we already seen. Ta-da. So this is the last one that we saw. Now we're going to be switching it over to the realistic teams. So we're starting out with team number 4, which is team Formidable Gang. Really playing into like the team number there, which is really cool. Let's see. The Escher is saying we still see you, Tim. That's good. That's good. Okay. Nice desktop background. Thanks. I appreciate it. Back to this though. So this is our first realistic team. And let me give you a couple of looks of what this team has done. Switching it back over to you, Zara. What are your comments of this team?
Yeah, so this piece reminds me of an old photo, like a very old vintage photo. It's really very, very mysterious and very old. It reminds me of like the old times. I would say my favorite parts are the water and the boat kind of like sunk into the water and the bridge kind of leading to the building. Really nicely done. A really interesting foreground, like leading elements to the building. And the mood is very misty, very, spooky. So in terms of like improvements, I would say it's the building itself. I wasn't really sold as like the construction of the building. It felt was missing some details, like little trim details, like connection points. Some areas, some meshes were kind of crashing into each other. So I feel like that could have been like worked on a little bit more, like how the roof is connecting with the rest of the building, because right now it feels like a tiling texture on a plane almost. But again, I can see that it was a short amount of time, hard to do everything well, right? But overall, I would say the ambience and the misty feeling of this piece really sold me on the theme as well, like a spooky season. And I also really love those foreground elements sticking out, in the front and in the shadows. So really nice to see that.
Yeah. Psycho Mantis in the chat is saying, I'm getting some Waco, Texas Davidian branch cult or like Far Cry 5 vibes, which is like really interesting. Like, I think Far Cry 5 is like one of my personal favorites in like the Far Cry franchise. So yeah, I can really see it now. I never thought about that, but I fully agree. Yeah, cool. What do you think, Rishabh?
Yeah, I think composition is very strong in this scene. Um, it has got the spooky vibes, right? Like so the spookness level, if that's a thing, is very high on this. And I think that's the best part about this scene. What I feel is like it's missing that exaggeration. It's almost like missing that. I know it's a realistic scene, so maybe they were just holding back, or they ran out of time. There are these holes on the roof, right? So maybe some things coming out of it, or some things going into it. Maybe some silhouettes of things going behind those yellow windows. Something with the bell, like it's just small things I feel like that's missing. For example, you see these in foreground, there are these symbols which are there. If they would have played around with the symbols and connected it to the church somehow, that that extra bit is what's missing. So it's a nice looking scene. It would have been just even better. That said, I know ran out of time, or so many things going on. What's happening in the back end, we don't know about it. Taking that into consideration, really really cool scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I especially agree with the comments that Zara made as well. But like for me, if I were to say like one thing, um, well, first positively, like I really also do agree with like the vibes and the spookiness and like how the mood of the scene feels. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me would just be to improve the shape of the house, like or of the church in this case, and like really playing around with the silhouette. And yeah, that would be like even after the challenge, right? That could be like an easy win to just go in and like really just like hand place or like adjust some like planks and like really add some curves into like how slanted the roof is and stuff. That would that is like it doesn't take too much effort, but it can really like level up the scene and make like the focal point like more unique. So that would be one thing from my side as well. Will in the chat is also saying that he loved the presentation and the post processing was on point as well. So yeah, thank you for adding that, Will. And he's also saying that it's also very Hunt Showdown too, which I don't know if you're familiar with that game, Rishabh. Like, do you agree?
Rings a bell, rings a bell. Yeah.
Slate is saying, I feel like realistic art style is harder to implement in shorter deadlines, but this looks great for 5 weeks. That's an interesting point, right? Because I feel like it's almost the opposite, where with realism, at least in my perspective, realism is something that you can find like a lot of great resources and references for, and then it's more focused on the execution. Whereas with stylized, you then have to decide like how are you going to take something that's realistic from a starting point and then exaggerate it, or like what is the style, and also in a situation like this where you have 5 random people, how do we remain consistent through these 5 weeks? Because that is like an additional challenge on top of things as well. But yeah, I mean, both kind of have their kind of like pros and cons, right? But yeah, let's have a look at some of the awards. So as Will already said in the chat, this team gets a recognition for the lighting award. So Will's giving this team the lighting award, which is good. And then we've also added a couple of Will's comments here as well. So a very strong theme and mood, really nice post-processing, lighting, and the use of fog, nice composition, an overall good use of silhouettes and breakup, and a perfect amount of set dressing to help the theme, but not make it feel like it's too much, right? And then there's some damage and paint breakup on the building that feels a bit random. It could be more localized, and then missing some of the breakup and blending on the roof hurts the overall quality. So that's kind of the stuff that I was talking about as well. And it would be nice to see some motion. Yeah, I fully agree. Honestly, I just think that this is a real challenge, and everyone did such a good job in tackling it. This is the Escher saying it in chat, and I totally agree. Like, we've had so many talks about like, do we extend the timeline? Do we like add more people? And I feel like the way that we're doing it now is the way that we feel that the challenge itself works the best. So yeah, it's always something that we think about, but I feel like in that respect, like it is supposed to be a challenge, right? And then we allow the teams to kind of scope towards like what they're comfortable with. And that's how you as a team can control like how much you want to do. But of course, you know, a team of 5 random people, everyone kind of has their own input, and sometimes we need to adjust things on the fly, right? Which is normal too. Will is also adding on to that aligning a team on a specific style will be hard. Yeah, exactly. And that's I think the biggest challenge that a stylized team has compared to a realistic team. Yeah. But thank you, team 4. Now we go to team number 5, which is called Card Gang. Yeah, really cool scene. I will switch it over to Rishabh again. So what do you think?
Yeah, this scene, I just felt like it's so much of asset work. The mood is excellent, and there's so many things going on. It's just that the smoke which is coming out from the pot and the effect that is there around the pot, that is something which just it just throws me off. It just takes me away from that entire environment which is there. Sometimes we need to be a bit slow with the things, that the smokiness factor can be pushed because of that. If I'm looking at think this is good, but also in the still now I'm already talking a bit about the improvements, because I just felt like there's nothing wrong in the scene, only these two things. One is the smoke thing coming out of it, and this camera angle when you're looking at it. If you're looking at the composition of this thing, maybe the camera had to be a bit more down, maybe the cart had to be placed in a different way, so the bottom fog area, that is a bit too much. It's just these tiny things which I felt was missing in this scene. Other than that, this is so good. It's like it just blows me off with amount of details, amount of storytelling that is there in this scene. Warm lighting, cool lighting, it's all really good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You would actually rotate the camera down?
I would say just moving just moving the camera a bit down, so that there is this big area of fog just below the cart and above the skulls, right? I would
Mhm.
actually decrease that a bit, so that my eye actually goes on the cart, and then it just flows through the scene.
Got it.
And maybe the skull placement, like it's just those composition wise, I feel like something is wrong with this. When I'm looking at the second shot, with the tree bark, yeah, that's so
Mhm.
cool. Like it leads me into the scene. It gives me like this this feeling of depth and so on. um
Yeah.
I was so confused looking at this scene. I liked it so much, but I also was kind of like, only these few things are just stopping me from calling the scene perfect.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so yeah.
The reason why I ask is because I was a mentor for this team, right? So obviously I'm a bit biased,
Uh-huh.
and we had a lot of back and forth between like how do we place the camera, like how do we angle it, and then also coming in with like all the changes to the assets as well, right? Because it's not only the camera, it's also the scene that's changing. And then yeah, so we
Yeah.
had those conversations as well, but I do have to agree, this second shot, it's like it doesn't even have like the main focal point in it, but dude, it's so good. I love this. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
it is so good. But I feel like this team did a really good job with like just picking like really interesting camera angles that are not like out of the ordinary,
Hmm.
right? So you have the main shot where you can see everything, of course, but then you have this one in the tree and then the one like above the tree stump. They're like very artistically driven. Like it's really interesting.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about your side, Sarah? What do you think?
Well, I have to say this scene is very spooky. It's really selling me on the theme. Very like a lot of work is done on the assets, the carriage, the way it's been put together. I really like the way the cloth is on the carriage is very cohesive, very well done. And I also really like the foreground element. So there's like the foreground element, and then there's a fog, and then in the distance you have the carriage. I really like that depth that they play with, and you can really see it in the video as well. And I just couldn't find anything, like if I had to really pick on the assets, I feel like all the assets were really well done. And I think what makes this scene, the one with the log, stand out the most is because there's this white fog coming at the back. So it really makes that wooden log stick out because you can see the shape of the log. So I really feel like the carriage could have had a bit of silhouette pop out. It was kind of getting a little bit lost in the shadows. I know we were going for the moody lighting, but I just feel like the shadows in the carriage, the point of interest is just getting a little too dark. It just needs a little bit more indirect lighting or global illumination in that area, just because that's like your hero asset. But overall, very, very good quality, very realistic, really, really well done. Overall, I would say, I feel like here's a little bit disagreement. I feel like I actually like the composition of the scene, just because there's a foreground layer, and then there's like that fog, and then you have the carriage on the side. I think what's missing is that the silhouette of the carriage is just kind of getting lost, and it's just too dark in many areas of the carriage. But overall, really well done.
Interesting. Yeah. It's always so interesting to hear like these feedback, these bits of feedback coming in at the end, because I do fully agree. And yeah, it has been really interesting to see like the team also like trying to implement a lot of this stuff like during the team challenge as well. So yeah, I won't say
Oh, yeah,
anything.
one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, just one more thing. And I do agree with Bishop that the effects on the cauldron really threw me off for a second. Because I was also looking at that and I was like, what's this? And I completely forgot about the carriage, but then I had to watch the video many times. I was like, oh wait, the carriage is a focus. So yeah,
Yeah.
again, like just toning down the smoke effect would have helped a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think oftentimes when we get to focus on those like smaller things, that means that everything else in the scene is so good that we have the ability to focus on those smaller things, right? So that's usually when I give feedback or when I talk to people about their work, is if I get to nitpick about things, that is a good thing, because then we're already past like, I don't know, 70% or like 80% of what I would normally nitpick on, right? So yeah. It's a weird way of saying great job, team. Yes. Okay. We got a recognition award as well from you, Sarah, for visual storytelling. Is there anything that you want to add with that one?
Yeah, I just think that it was just put together so well. Like it felt natural. It didn't feel like somebody was set dressing the theme. It really felt like there was like a witch living there, and there were like some books laying around, and the carriage and the props around the carriage are really well integrated into the scene. Like everything seemed like it was lived in. So for me, that was like the best storytelling in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. Psychomantis is saying they deserve a game award this December from Jeff Keighley. Well, we'll see how we do with that one. We'll propose it. I'll reach out to Jeff. Let's see. Great shot. I think the books could be more used up as well. Like maybe implement like an RGB mask for those and add more wear and tear. This is from Leah, which is a good suggestion as well. Usually that's what we tend to focus on in the last week with like all the teams, is just looking at the resources that are there and how can we make more use out of them, right? And that is just, sometimes it is literally just as simple as like, hey, we have this prop, can we break it down into individual pieces and then use those individual pieces more, right? Because it's such a simple way of like making the most of it. I personally like this scene a lot. I think the lighting, composition, and VFX are all very solid. That's also from Leia as well, which is really, really cool. And then Millie is here from the Card Gang themselves, joining in the chat. And she's saying, woohoo, Card Gang, let's go. It's good to see you here, Millie. And congratulations on like the beautiful end piece that you made. But that's not it. There's also an award for John, because he received the Backbone Award as well, which again, it is being an essential part of the organization and keeping all the team on track, because John did an amazing job on leading the team and booking all the team meetings and being very vocal and talking about stuff. I'm the mentor for this team, so I'm going to be biased, right? So take that into account. But John was really good at asking questions and just being like, "Hey, I think this is the thing that we need to do next," or like bringing up like topics like that, right? Like very vocal. So that was really great. Nice. Okay, we're gonna go to the next team, which is Magic Brooms and Magic Rooms, the next realistic team, making a really cool underground like snake temple. I'll hand it back to you, Sarah. What do you think of this one?
So I like the idea that they had. It was very different from the rest of the entries that I saw. It was like snake themed, and I could see the theme kind of like passing on to the statues. And I really also like the fire in the fire pits, and I like the ambience around the fire pits. I just felt like there were a lot of dark areas in the scene, and then the light areas were very light, like bright. It almost felt artificial, like it felt like a stadium light kind of lighting up the statue, whereas it didn't feel natural, like a moonlight coming in. So those lights, those harsh, like dark areas and a very bright area kind of it throws me off a bit because it's missing that little gradient of global illumination and indirect lighting. And I think that indirect lighting could have been amped up a little bit more. But overall, I think the theme was like nice, and there's like some attention to detail in like, okay, there's going to be candles here, there's going to be a fire pit here, but like when I look at this area where the floor is, I feel like the floor isn't really selling me on the way it's been constructed. It feels like a stamp almost, like the eye on the floor. So that could have been more well integrated. There could have been more wear and tear on the floors, more cracks. And then again, the lighting is the biggest thing here, where it's not. There's too many black areas in the overall scene. But again, it's limited time, and I understand there's like last minute things to do. So I really appreciate the effort the team put in here.
Yeah, I think especially on the floor, like, I mean, again, like it's easy to talk about it like after the fact. Like if you already have like those individual like stones or like little like the staircase, for example, if you just like rotate and like scale them up and just ever so slightly give everything like a little bit of an offset, maybe not everything, but like a couple of them at least, like that adds so much. Like those details where you can kind of feel that it's not perfectly built, like you said, right? Where you can see that it's just an underground cult that just like roughly cut up a stone and just like kind of threw it in, like trying to do the best that they could. Um, but yeah, I really do like the way that the scene is kind of laid out from like this one um statue in the back going towards like the eye like circle in the front. It kind of hints at like a ritual or something that is connecting the two, which I do really like. What about yourself, Rishabh? What do you think?
I think it's a scene which is not consistent in terms of the asset quality. So when I look at, okay, this shot, for example, this is such a good shot because the main sculpture, the main statue, it's so well done. I think like they have spent so much time and energy on that thing that the other parts of the scene are lacking a bit. So whenever we are working on a scene, right? Like, and I think this is also one of the tips which I want to give in a professional scenario. We always take assets together, quality wise. So let's say if there was the quality of maybe the statue was a bit lower but the other assets were a bit higher, this scene would have looked even better. So that is the balance which we need to make, because in the end we are not making one asset, we are making environment. So just understanding the whole environment and then working on it accordingly would have been really good. 100% agree with Zara's comment on the uh, darkness of the scene, but I think maybe the reason for the darkness was also the details in the scene, or those assets were not that detailed. So you were trying to show only the things that were actually looking good, which is a smart thing to do. I'm not saying it's bad, but maybe you would have used that same statue in a different way, the parts of that statue in a different way, some things which are finished. So and the god rays, I think this is one aspect because it's so easy to get God rays now in the engine, because we used to struggle a lot in order to get God rays before, right? So it's like a free effect right now that everybody uses it a lot. So I think that it's those small things, just which can push this scene quite a lot. But that said, I see. I mean, I can see the struggle would have been that okay, the statue is complete. Now other assets are not complete. Let's make them a bit darker. Maybe hide our imperfections. It's I can sense that in the scene. But really extra point for the whoever did the statue. I think it's really top notch, really good quality.
Yeah, I love the statue. Psychomantis is saying Draco Malfoy approves. Okay, yeah. I see where that one's going. Um, and the Escher is also saying, I love that statue, and it certainly is unmissable for where the focal point is. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, compared to like all the, or like in addition to like all the comments that were said by both of our judges, it is hard to miss the focal point, right? It's literally just like the sunbeam just coming down on it. It's like, hey, pay attention to me. So that is definitely a thing. But I definitely agree. Like it's one of those things where maybe if you had like another week, right? Like polish some things up, like try to make more use of some elements in the scene, you can really push this like to the next level if you wanted to. But withstanding all of that, like it is great. It is a great little scene. Um Made in 5 weeks, done a great job on like the sculpts and like some of the other individual assets that maybe don't like are not in the focal point. But yeah, there's some really good stuff in this scene. And yeah, like it's been said in the chat, the composition is solid, and I definitely agree with that as well. Cool. Let's move on over to some of the team shoutouts and also Will's comments as well. So I'll read out a couple of them. So Will is saying an impressive sculpt on the main statue, which is just as like the other people have said as well. And an intriguing theme and storytelling, and then a strong use of lighting and layer separation as well. Yeah, and then some of the improvements that could be made, it's some textures are a bit weaker and noisy, especially the wooden beams, some ropes in the fabric, like bringing down the overall visual quality, which is basically somewhat in line with what Rishab was saying as well, that there needs to be consistency between all the different assets as well. However, we do have some team shoutouts as well. So the team was very vocal about praising what they've done and what other people in the team have done. So Cade was a great, well-rounded team player who played into the leader role very well. Just to give some context here, what we do is that every team has their own kind of like leader of the team. So we don't give them extra powers or anything like that, but they do help run the team, and they keep the consistency and task tracking and all that kind of stuff. They have a bit more of overhead that way. Yeah, their focus on the main focal point at the start and then polishing at the end was very crucial. And then Amy is also a great artist who constantly pushed through iterations and delivered some of the most impressive works in our piece. So massive shout out to Amy there as well. For which both Amy and Olaf actually get the Bridge Builder Award, which is for like great communication, speaking up in feedback sessions, and then being open about like helping other people out as well. And that's what the next couple of comments are about, because someone said that Olaf and Amy both contributed a huge amount to the scene and were really great with providing feedback. And the next person says, Cade and Olaf, because Cade did a really great job in leading the team, making sure everyone was coherent and giving great feedback. And then Olaf was a great team player as well. So, job well done, team. Yeah, really well deserved on all those like individual awards as well. Congratulations to the entire team for finishing this beautiful project. Now we go to team number 7, which are called Lucky 7. A beautiful opening to this piece. And with that, I'll hand it over to Zara to share your thoughts.
Yeah, this piece was really nice. It's very unique, especially those tree shapes and the colors. It's really, really well done, very well composed. I cannot get over that tree shape is so unique, and You know, it's almost like it's a realistic piece, and it's selling me as a realistic piece. But some areas are a bit stylized, but it still looks good. It still fits in as a realistic piece. So really well done, very well, done in terms of like the teamwork as well. I feel like things were pretty consistent in terms of the style, and everything that's in the scene seems like it belongs there. I will say the overall composition was also great. There's like a leading path to the scene, and then there's like a zoom in of like some storytelling elements, little potions. I can see there was a lot of work done, a lot of props made for this scene. So props to whoever, all the team members who worked really hard for this. And the lighting is also very well done. It's kind of hard to do like an indirect lighting where you don't have this strong source of light or moonlight streaming in, but yeah, just the ambient lighting is so nice and so misty, and it's not there aren't pure blacks in the scene, which is why I feel like the indirect lighting is really well done here. There's like some blue tones in the fog, and it's very misty. And I also love how the roots are integrated into the cliff, and everything is very well merged in. It feels like it's lived in. So yeah, really well done. If anything, I had to point on things is like when I was looking at the zoomed in, areas of the carriage, there were some textures that could have been improved. And it's also like when I look at the scale of the tree leaves on the left-hand side, they seem to be larger than the leaves on the right-hand side, and that kind of like throws me off a bit. And when I was looking at the height of the lamppost, they were really short. So I wasn't sure, like, is the witch really short? If the witch is short, then why the leaves are huge, but then the leaves on the other side were really small. It's just small things like that. The grass is also very big, so just little things like the scale could have been adjusted, but overall, really well done.
Yeah, that's actually great to point that out. Maybe it is a tiny witch, like who knows? Yeah, what do you think, Rishabh?
Yeah, I think the spread of details and the composition, it's one of my favorites, because the reason is like when you look at the video, even the way fog is there in the scene and it's leading you into the main tower, then that is your main focus. Then your eye flows through the scene. It more you look at the scene, and to be honest, when I saw it the first time, I was like, okay, cool scene. But more I saw it, I'm like, what? They did this in 5 weeks? The use of FX, it's really good here, and this is a really good example of how we should use FX, how we should not overdo it. It's like multiple small things that add up to make the scene. And the knockout for me was the last shot, in which the camera is just going there, and you see it's almost like a in the air, and especially when the video is playing on this thing, it leaves you with this mystery that, okay, what's going on? There's something which is beyond this, and that is what stood out for me. Um, Talking about the improvement, 100% agree with about the scale of the leaves. I think that's really off, that the tree on the left, especially you are using that same leaf on the tower. So that should have not been done then, right? Like, and the background, the clouds. I think that's something as well which I feel it's almost like they're blurry. Like it's just that background didn't work for me. Maybe using an HDRI would have been a good thing to do here, or something is off in the background. That said, so much of work, consistent work, the great use of FX, and one of my favorite scenes. Yes.
Yeah, I think Vidar in the chat put it really beautifully when they said, "Ooh, the colors are so pleasant," and I feel like I didn't put it in those words, but like that's how I felt. Like all the colors kind of like weave into each other, and it's like quite a consistent scene that way. And then we have a bunch of people just being really excited being part of this team, because I think we have the whole team in the chat. So great stuff, team. Some people are just shouting Abdu, which is like the team lead of this team, just like Abdu, Abdu. It's just really riding him up, which is really cool. So yeah, amazing stuff from this team. Slate is saying this is a rich environment indeed. And then Zoe's saying that like, yeah, the witch is just like 3 feet tall, you know, so she's like a tiny witch just going into this little house of hers. Or she might have back pain, which is like what Vanessa is saying. So it's either one of those, or maybe a combination. Who knows? And Adam is saying, "What's this game and how can I get it?" Yeah, I know, right? It looks so cool. It's almost like I don't know, like almost like a bit more fantasy version of like something that you would see in like The Witcher or something. Like it's really cool. It's also really well done. I really like this scene a lot. And that is not because there's like a Beyond Extend logo like on this little plate here or like on the charm like in the cards. Like it has nothing to do with that. Trust me, okay? Like what?
Brand
um,
integration
yeah,
everywhere.
exactly. Yeah, but job well done. Which is also like interestingly seen with like the recognitions as well. So there's a bunch of stuff here. Will gave a composition award because Will really loved the composition. There was honestly so much stuff on this page that we couldn't even cram Will's notes in here. So sorry about that, Will. If you want to say anything in the chat, feel free to do so. But yeah, Sarah, you gave this team the thematic award as well. Is there something that you want to add to that award as well?
Yeah, I feel like this was really well done in terms of the theme because the tree felt like witchy. Everything felt so witchy, and it was like reminding me of Halloween. So I just really loved how there were like pumpkins everywhere, and then the tree had character, and then there was like a little cart with little potions. So yeah, really well done.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then Rishab, you gave them both the lighting and the composition award as well. Yeah, anything to add there?
Yeah, again, like lighting is it's very interesting. It's not overdone. Like I forgot to mention that it's just right amount of lighting which leads you to the main tower, and there is this composition wise as well. There is like the way lamps are placed, the way you know. As I was mentioning, use of FX, right? Like composition is not only about you know just using golden ratio or something like that. It's like how you use the elements to lead into the scene. I think they just nailed it. It's really good.
100%. Will in the chat is also saying, all I need to say is this looks sick. So that is Will's feedback on the composition award. Thank you so much, Will. People are also saying that pumpkin spice latte in this. Yeah, I mean that seems like a good combination, you know? Really good stuff. And then also you'll see that Sunny had the pleasure of like handing the award for like the Miro Mayhem. Do you want to chime in here? What is that for?
Yeah, definitely. So the Myro Mayhem Award is for the team with the most creatively chaotic pre-production plan on their Myro board. And this team's Myro board was a case of zooming out and going, oh, wow, there's more. I was sitting on call with Timothy and it just kept going. I can tell the team really had fun with their process and their work, and there were some really awesome memes in there. So from an onlooker perspective, it looks like the team got along exceptionally well. And on that note, it was really great to see how the whole team embraced a new member even at the end of the pre-production week. So you guys all did an amazing, phenomenal job.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much, Sonny. Yeah, it was really fun. Like just going through all the Miro boards and then finding the most chaotic one. And this one, yeah, was really interesting because like Sonny said, I wasn't even aware of what was happening because I was so zoomed in that I was just like, oh, this looks really organized. And then you just like zoom out and like it just like explodes in like memes and random pictures and like all that kind of stuff. So it got like really chaotic, which was really cool to see. Zoe is saying, we got on very well and I love to work with them again. And then Seb is saying, I'm sorry for the chaos. Thanks, Seb. Yeah, but don't worry, it was so fun to look at it though. Oh my god. Yeah, but we got some team shout outs, right? So the team was like really vocal about each other and like the work that they did. So you can tell, right? Like that there is usually, not always, but there's usually a correlation between how good the team communicates and just finds hanging out with each other. to the end result of it. And I think in this that's really like an example of how those things like go hand in hand. But yeah, some team shout outs. So everyone went above and beyond, each bringing their passion and putting in the hard work. So this is just like for the entire team, which is amazing. Abdu stayed on top of his responsibilities and found the time to help other teammates. Stood out as a great tech artist. Abdu was an absolute wizard when it comes to lighting and materials. And then a couple of shout outs for Justin. So his knowledge from past challenges, attention to detail, and going out of his comfort zone to focus on foliage for the scene. Oh, Justin, I didn't even realize that you were part of this team. Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. Oh, are you the bringer of chaos to the Miro board? I'm curious now. Anyway, Zoe is a great team leader and helping us stay motivated, which is also super important. Ezgi, even though she joined our team late, like near the end of the week, she meshed in so well and helped us make the project look so awesome. So for context for this, and this is also something that happens in the background where like a lot of people don't really see what's happening. We started with 16 teams. 2 teams fell apart, unfortunately, because sometimes that's just what happens. Ezgi actually got transported from another team and then put in this team because they had someone in the beginning leave as well. So this stuff is also happening in the background as you're trying to meet new people, and it just adds to the chaos. But Ezgi did a great job, and as mentioned, really fleshed in well. So just to go over the awards, Justin got the Swiss Army knife, which is just like an all-rounder on the team. So we got the Backbone Award for being an essential part of the organization. Abdu got the Bridge Builder, Swiss Army knife, and Energizer Bunny because, yeah, it's just like all-round great communication, blending the technical and the artsy stuff, and then also an individual that went above and beyond. So, yeah, great stuff, Abdu. And then Ezgi for the Bridge Builder Award for like great communication and being open to help fellow teammates as well. So, yeah, massive shout out to the whole team. I think you've done a fantastic job and great stuff supporting each other in these 5 weeks as well. So we're saying Seb's prop work was amazing too. Yeah, and it's really on display, right? And Leia Lindix in the chat is asking, did you find the Easter eggs? So I found the 2 ones which we talked about, but I know about a 3rd one, but I don't want to spoil it for other people because I know one more place where Beyond Extend is hidden. So, but we'll release this to you soon, or if you're in the Discord, you can already kind of check if you can spot one hidden Easter egg. Yeah, great stuff, Team 7. We're gonna go to Team 8. 100 bats in the shape of a man. Okay, really interesting team name. I'll throw it straight to you, Rishabh. What do you think?
Okay. Very interesting scene. I just felt like the main building is really cool. The main thing for me was like if this would have been a stylized entry, it would have helped this scene a lot. It's like realism is unfortunately not coming through in this scene. It might be the setup, it might be the lighting. Maybe Zara can help you more about that thing, right? Like why is it looking more stylized to me? But also, for example, the snow, right? Like the amount of snow on the ground and amount of snow on the castle, it's just not, it's not resonating. Something is off for me. That said, I think it was like the idea was really cool. I love the aurora kind of lights coming out from the from the house. It's a tricky one. Like I don't know what you think, Zara, about this. Like I'm really curious with your stylized background. Um, yeah.
For me, like this image, it's hard for me to read the depth. So for me, when I
Mm.
look at the image, like the house seems on the same layer as a cliff that's at the back, but also on the same plane as the foreground, because it's like missing the fog and the depth that usually you see in scenes. I think the stylized aspect is definitely coming from that green color and the lighting. It feels like they're like spotlights kind of pointing towards the house. But again, like I like the house. The house. It seems like there was a lot of work done on the mansion, and you know, again, like it's hard for me to focus on what to look at because there's this like green light coming from the bottom, but then the house is also emitting some green light, and the pathway to the house is not like lit up. But then you have these really bright candles on the foreground. So I feel it was, you know, when it comes to like the overall composition of the scene and like putting the scene together, it was lacking that a little bit and adding depth to the scene. Maybe adding some fog or, you know, helping guide the eye where to look. It would have helped. And then when I look at the textures on the grave, they seem more stylized. They seem very simple, but then the house is very, very, very textured. So there's like some inconsistencies there, but I really like the idea as well. Like I feel like if only like the lighting and the adding depth to this piece would have, you know, if they had time to like kind of go over it and change that a little bit, I think the scene is really cool.
Yeah, I think that was one of the trickiest things with this scene, which I was a mentor for this team. And I think we definitely talked about like a lot of like layer separation, right? Like how do you separate elements from each other? And I think the team did a great job. Obviously, can do better listening to the feedback here. But yeah, it's really cool to see what the team has done in like these 5 weeks, and just really, yeah, the speed of like especially like the last couple of weeks, just like bringing everything together was really really interesting to see. And also like I was in the beginning, I was hesitant about like the green lights, but I think honestly it gives the scene a lot of character, you know? Like it makes it like stand apart from like some of the other ones as well. But it's just like so blatantly like going into the green direction, which is really, really cool. But yeah. Yeah, and I also love, I don't know, there's something so satisfying about this shot. And it's like the same with the other team, Team 5, where like it doesn't really show like everything in the scene, but there's something so pleasing about this random shot about like the tower. I really like it. Yeah, let's have a look. So we got a couple of comments from Will. So very impressive scale and scope, super detailed main building, like an impressive amount of details, and then really good use of motion as well. And then I know that this team spent a lot of time like figuring out like how to blend snow and all the different techniques of like how to blend snow properly. And I think they really push it really hard, and I think it looks really really good. So there's strong vibes and atmosphere, but Will's also saying that the textures feel a bit noisy, which overall doesn't help with the readability, as there's already like a lot going on. There's a lot of color going on, which kind of goes into the comments from like the other judges as well, where sometimes it's hard to figure out where you want to look, right? And then kind of making it more focused. Same with the last comment as well from Will. Like, could use a stronger focal point visually, and that has to do with like where do we focus the attention in this scene. Leia is saying, I feel like every team should have like a lighting artist assigned. Yeah, that's an interesting one. That's an interesting suggestion. And Zoe's saying that lighting is very cool. It looks like the Northern Lights a little bit. Yeah, so like spooky Northern Lights almost, you know? And then the Escher is saying, I like the green lights. It gives like Halloween movie vibes. Yeah, I can see that, especially when it comes from like down below, you know, very ominous, very cool to see. There's also a couple of team shoutouts. So one for Alex, the Energizer Bunny Award, because you went above and beyond and really just stepped up and did a lot of asset creation in a short amount of time, building out like a lot of key props and small details, which was really appreciated by the team. And then also a shout out to Dylan for being incredibly helpful and knowledgeable with their shader work, thus granting you like an like a jack of all trades award. So yeah, great job, both Alex and Dylan, but the rest of the team as well, right? I know that the team really pushed hard and had a lot of really good conversations. It was really interesting to listen to the communication, and it was fun to sit into those meetings as well. So great stuff, team. You can be proud of what you've done. Right. The next team is Blockout_Sam. I have No clue what that's in reference to. Do either of you know what that is a reference to? No? I have no clue. Just a random name that we're looking into too much, I guess. But let's see. I'll hand it over to you, Sarah. What do you think about this scene?
Yeah, I think this is really spooky. The way the camera was like moving into the witch's den, it was like, whoa, there's something spooky going on. And I like the layer depth in here. So there's like a foggy environment and there's like the foreground element that's not foggy. If I had to give any feedback, is that I feel like the main focal point could have used more exaggeration, larger shapes, maybe a bigger entry point, or if not a bigger entry point, then maybe the roots could be more spooky, kind of like intertwining, leading you to that area. But I know we're short on time again, but you know, I think the focus is very clear, like, you know, the witch's den is over there, and I also like the pathway kind of going in. So yeah, overall, I think the scene was well put together, but I do feel like there was a bit of shortage of time because the hero asset here is your tree and that area. So maybe if you wanted to keep the entrance small, the roots, again, I think there could have been more work done on that.
Yeah, yeah. And people in chat are saying that they love the flickering. I really want to know what's happening in that cave. No, I'm good. You know, like I'm not going into that cave. Like you're going by yourself. I don't need to be anywhere near that cave. But yeah, also Zoe is chiming into like our big mystery about like why the scene, like why the team is called Blockout_Sam, and she has a theory that like I guess Sam did a blockout. Which, yeah, that might make sense.
Well done, Sam.
Yeah. All right, Rishabh, what do you think?
Great blockout, I guess. Uh, I mean, this scene is so interesting at so many levels. Like it's one of those scenes in which like they try to do something really different. The execution is where they lagged a bit. When we look at the scene, right? Like we always talk about foreground, midground, background. If you look at this render, for example, right? Like almost the foreground and midground is there, and then the background is just one layer. It's almost like the midground should have been the tree and that cave, and the background would have been even further back. I think that's what's missing in this scene overall. A lot of good stuff, right? Like the lighting is there, but it's just missing the spot. One thing which I'm just noticing a lot in a lot of scenes now that I'm again seeing is like the sky. It's one of the things which is the easiest to get if you think about it, right? Like if you look at the sky here as well, it looks like something is off, and maybe that's the reason why your scene is looking a bit flat. Use HDRI lighting, right? Like just throw in an HDRI the first thing when you start in a scene, and that's for blockout Sam. Even during the blockout itself, just add an HDRI. um, that will give your scene already a good starting point. Especially, I don't know, like I have not done a lot of stylized stuff, right? So maybe Zara has some tip for that. But like for me, when I'm doing a realistic scene, the first thing is I'll throw in a HDRI, and then maybe at some stage I'll start using the lookup table as well. Just to get that feeling, and what style, like what mood I need to set up. That's what's missing for me in this scene. uh, but it can be improved really quickly. So my tip to them will be just try to see if you can just play around with those things which we are talking about, and then post it if finally you want to post it, right? So
Yeah, I was just
that's my
gonna say,
feeling. Yeah.
good point on the sky, because yeah, when I was looking at it, I was like, yeah, although the skies could have used. I know in realistic it's more HDR, but for stylized we go with like a really bright color and then hand painted clouds on alpha cards, and that is
Mm,
also the first thing I set up is a sky, is to make sure
mm.
that it keeps changing till the end, but it's the first thing I set up as well. So a really good point on that.
Yeah. What Yeah, I do agree, and I think there's also there's a lot of time, at least from my side, there's a lot of time invested into like smaller props that if you then like zoom out to like the main shot, I honestly didn't even notice that they were there. So again, it's one of those things where like I think the team did actually do a smart job of like, okay, they noticed that, I think, right? I have no clue about what their weekly updates were in this case. But I think they noticed that themselves, and that's why they added like these pillars with the skulls and all that kind of stuff on the side. And I think you can definitely make more use of that, right? Um, or maybe for future iterations, it's interesting to see, like, have a look at your asset list and then see, hey, all these assets that we're going to be creating that people are focusing on, are they going to be relevant to the focal point? Because otherwise, if that doesn't happen, then it's just going to be distracting from the focal point, right? And that's where I put like all the attention for the scenes that I try to build. Then, but yeah, just to echo what other people are saying, I do really like the lighting as well. Like it has a very defined, contrasted like focal point, and I think especially with like the cinematic coming in and like the flickering light and just like it's trying to pull you in, right? It's like this demonic force that's kind of trying to pull you into like this weird little cave underneath like a root system. So yeah, and like I was talking about the props, but I think the props individually, like all these smaller props, they look awesome. You know, like the execution on them looks great. Yeah, good job to the entire team though. We got some recognitions. So we got one from Will for visual storytelling. So Will really liked the visual storytelling of this one. Just to let you know what Will thought. So there's a high quality props and materials, kind of the same thing that I just brought up as well. And then overall impressive execution from a texture and technical side, and a strong and clear composition. There's also great theming and atmosphere as well. But Will is then saying, if you were to take this further, I wish that the fog started a bit further away and to give like a bit more focus on the main tree and the tunnel. So basically, like, yeah, basically what you said, right, Rishabh, is that you want to define like that mid ground, and then after that you want to have like another background. Whereas like now the tree is kind of like the background. And then also, yeah, the trees are clipping with the bridge. Would have been cool if they grew along it. Yeah, it's one of those small points, but like those small things matter, you know?
Speaking of small things and also the bridge, I did notice that the bridge has a little Easter egg logo stamp on the top of it. I don't know if you noticed that, Timothy.
Yeah, I did. Let's go back.
I found it.
It's so interesting. Like
There
it's like
it
a little
is.
Beyond Extent logo here.
Yeah. Also, maybe the den is referring to the logo too.
I was kind of thinking.
Speculation.
I was kind of thinking that it's like rounded and maybe they were trying to make like a triangle or
Yeah,
something.
maybe.
Maybe. Definitely some hidden stuff going on, which I like. Yeah, really cool stuff, and thanks for bringing that up as well, Sonny. That's a cool little Easter egg there. Thomas Stage is actually asking, can anyone join these challenges and how often do they happen? At the end, we're going to reveal when the next one is going to happen. But we do have like a selection process that we go through, because we do have like a minimal experience that we expect, not as in like professional experience, but just like from your portfolio, right? So yeah, anyone can apply, and then we go through like all the portfolios, and then we make teams based on that. Yeah, let's have a look. Some people were talking about like, hey, maybe it could be interesting to bring up like lighting artists, like 1 or 2 meetings with lighting artists to continue that conversation, which is very interesting. Myself and Sonny are definitely going to have a discussion about that, because it's tricky with a lighting artist, right? We had team challenges where a lighting artist was embedded for the whole time, but then if they don't really do like anything else, right, they kind of become like an additional person that can potentially do like a bunch of other stuff instead of like spending all their time on lighting. So that's it's a good point. We'll see what we can do in future ones. Thank you for the suggestion.
Do submit your feedback if this is something that you want to see. We go through all of your feedback. There's a link provided, and we do take it into account. We've made a lot of changes to the team challenges based on your experiences and your thoughts, so don't knock it. Just make sure to let us know.
Yeah, and that's why it's awesome that we have like live feedback here, because that's going to be great for us. There is also an award that we need to hand out for Artyom and Sam. They both get the Energizer Bunny Award. So that's for people that go above and beyond because they were both super passionate and they really went above and beyond to really push what we had. They took feedback really well and they did a lot during the polishing phase. So shout out to Artyom and Sam for both being amazing in this team. And then also we have like a side note from the mentor as well. This is coming from Lloyd, who was the mentor for this team, where they sent Sonny a private message, basically given like a personal recommendation that Team 9 generally worked all really worked hard together. They all communicated well together, and everyone tried various aspects. So it sounds like this was a great team setup where there was a lot of interchange of resources and that people had the freedom to try different things as well, which is also a part of this challenge too, right? You need to have the ability to try some new stuff or be able to take new things on. So yeah, thank you for that comment, Lloyd. Let's see. Next team. This is team who was definitely more focused on the project because that was their name as well. A really cool little scene. Let me play it out completely. And I'll hand it over to you, Sarah. What do you think?
Yeah, I actually love the composition of the scene. And I think I was maybe I was outnumbered on that one, but I actually really love the composition and the lighting. And it's funny because I was talking about dark areas before, and I was like, too many dark areas, but here it somehow works because it's working with the silhouette against the moonlight kind of streaming in, and it really sells me on that spooky ambience. At the same time, on the foreground, we have this like log kind of going into the swamp, and then you can see the moonlight hitting those areas. So for me, I think this was really well done in terms of the lighting, the composition. If anything, I kind of wish the bridge or the path going towards the witch's den would have been more lit up, or maybe some areas of the witch's den could have been lit up a little bit more just to highlight some of the shades and play a little bit more with the rim lighting that's coming from the back on the moon from the moon. But overall, I think I love the green tones, and I love the shapes of the tree roots and the tree branches. And then one more thing is like I feel like the background trees, like they're very, very repetitive right now. I can say like there's kind of like copy pasted at the back. So, just kind of introducing more background elements that are a little different. It could have been easy to just take those trees, like bend one this way, scale one down, and then, have some like mountain ridges at the back. And, those tree roots could have been more enhanced at the front as well. But overall, I think this thing was really lovely.
Ooh, yeah, that would be sick. Like having like a foreground element where there's like a root that almost comes like
Yeah.
next to the viewer or something like that. That could be cool.
Mhm.
I also do like what you said because like normally the way that we construct scenes is like we have the focal point in like the brightest area of the scene, right? Where this one kind of like turned that up on its head and basically was like, hey, that's going to be the darkest area, which is like a really good showcase of like that it doesn't really matter if it's like light or dark. It's about the contrast between the two that is like most important. It's just really interesting. I didn't really put it into like thoughts like that before you mentioned it, so that's great. Um, and then yeah, especially with like just doing like a little bit of like more work on like having like a little bridge, like a broken little bridge in the front of it. That could be like cool to hint that there's more going on there. Yeah, but what do you think, Rishabh?
Yeah, like
Oh.
this scene is so disgusting in a good way. Like it it has this greenish, dirty tones, and the bottom right bark or something which is going in, right? Like you look at the texture on that thing, and you're like, ooh, it gives you that kind of a disgusting feeling. I just feel this feeling of this, this bark, if that was actually on the main structure or the main building itself, that would have been more like an infestation is going on in that building, or in that like that theme wise, if that was pushed, it would have been more unique. I totally agree with the point with Zara is mentioning on the background trees. It's repeating a lot, so I think that also just rotating them a bit. The foreground elements could have been a bit more stronger. Um, Stronger in a way that distinct, like this disgusting feeling. If you can just push that, which you have been doing on the bottom right part, that's just catching my eye again and again. The fire, if it's done from scratch, I love it. I think it's so realistic looking fire. So if you look at the video somehow on this, it's so nicely done. um it's 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 just right amount of fire which is going on. um yeah, that's mainly it. Oh yeah, God Rays again. It's not very well executed. I think the God Rays overall, it you can just feel that okay, it's not coming from the moon. It's like there is this another source of light, a spotlight, which is placed there, and it's just contradicting with the moon. So always think about the lighting in a way that these are the source of lights, and that's where the main lighting needs to come from. Uh,
Yeah,
that's mainly it.
that's actually a good point. I didn't even pick up on that until you pointed it out. But that's good. Yeah. I do also agree, but like the trees to me would be like the easiest thing to improve, right? Because I see what they were going for. They were going for like the weeping willow, which is like the perfect tree to go for, right? For like a spooky scene. But it's just the execution of that like leaves a little bit too desired. So that would be like if you were to polish it a little bit, that could really change the whole scene, right? Because it's just I'm assuming that it's just one instance of a tree. So if you make that tree like really well executed, it's gonna really take the scene to like the next level. And then some of the easiest things is like taking the stuff that already exists, right? Those roots and kind of like have them a little bit more in the foreground so that you can make it even more disgusting in a beautiful way, like you said so. Psychomantics was really laughing about that one. The Escher said, I do feel the background trees are the weakest point. I want to polish it before putting it on our station. Or if you want to polish it before putting it on our station. I think improving those background trees would make the biggest difference. Yeah, 100% agree. And then Slate is saying, this is looking great. Yeah, also commenting on the trees again. And then Psychomantis is also saying, Swamp Gang, what's up? I think we're just gonna end up with like team names next time around where it's just people are gonna call them whatever with gang in them, you know? I don't know how that's gonna work, but we'll see. And Zoe is saying, I love to see some of the roofs at the top of the house coming more to the screen on the left. Yeah, I feel like I have to agree with like Rishab where I want to see like more disgusting slime like drudgery kind of just like lingering on like the roots, you know? Like I think what it really could add like a nice additional layer of detail is just you have those like root cards, like very tiny root cards that you just like scatter across some of the branches to give it like I don't know little spindly roots to kind of fill some of those sections up. I think that would look sick as well. How crazy would it be if it this is Psychomantis in the chat saying how crazy would it be if it was octopus legs holding the hut on the top of the swamp? Yeah, it just runs off at a certain point. It's just like bye.
And that's a flashback to some of our other team challenges right there.
Oh yeah, it actually is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep, there we go.
All right, let's have a look for this team. We got some recognitions from Zera because Zera really you really love the lighting
Yeah.
and the composition.
Yeah, but now when Rashad mentioned the source of light, I was like, oh yeah. But honestly, I think it's hard to do it dark to a point of interest, right? Here it was dark. And the background was bright. And I really think that when I looked at it, I was like, wow, this is really well done. Like overall, I'm spooked. I know the point of interest. I like the composition. But then again, just having those foreground elements, just a bit more depth in the background as well, like not everything just on one layer. And playing around with those trees would have just take this to the next level. Really well done overall. And I also really like those spooky shadows of those tree branches kind of coming in. It was really selling me on that. So nice stuff, nice work.
Yeah, amazing. Let's go to the team shoutouts then, because Sergio, he got a team shout out from the team for being a person that really went above and beyond. So massive shout out to you, Sergio. It's great to see you participate in the challenge and doing so well. Let me read out some of the comments. So I believe went above and beyond in my team. Was responsible for the main focal asset in the environment, the hut, and I think he produced excellent results in everything relating to the hut, thanks to the time he spent on research, making sure everything was as detailed and as accurate as possible. This is a more simple one, right? But we had a person that really shouted out, like Tobias, both Tobias and Alex, for being people that stood out to them. And then another person said that like everyone active went above and beyond extent. So thanks for that little gag in there. I love it. I appreciate it. But yeah, shout out to the entire team for making such a beautiful piece again. Great stuff. And then we're going to go to team 11, which is Voodoo You Think You Are. Really, really cool looking scene. I'll immediately hand it over to Rishab. What do you think?
Sorry, who did you
Please.
hand it to? You kind of
Oh.
broke up a bit.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry. I was saying Rishab.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, I think very cool atmosphere and mood. There is like no denying that, right? Like it's such a cinematic looking scene for me. It has got like just a good example of how to use God rays, I would say. It's like happening a lot, but still it's the requirement of the scene. So the amount of fog which there is in the scene, it's really, really nice. The so the composition, lighting, mood, I think that's all good. I think the storytelling is what's missing here in this scene. It's a good looking scene. It's a very, very beautifully executed in terms of, what's like a very good looking final product. But what is the story is lacking. I think that aspect, it's almost like the previous scene and this scene, if somehow we could just marry both of them and just do something with both of those scenes, it, it would have been a better result. Um, but it's a very cinematic looking scene for me.
Mhm. Yes, and what do you think, Sarah?
Yeah, I would mirror what Rishab just said. It looks like a movie to me, like it looks like a scene from a movie. But however, I do think that like yes, foggy scenes do exist and there's fog in real life, but I feel like it was hard for me to see the hero assets. If they were kind of like clear, maybe the foreground elements were a little bit more clear, so I could see some of the work done on the meshes, or like some of the textures. It would have helped because everything is super, super foggy and it's hard for me to like tell the quality of the textures in the meshes from that, as well as like I love the contrast between green light and then the ambient warm light coming from the house. Really nice work done there. But then again, I just feel like a lot is just getting lost. It's hard for me to see what's happening, especially if it's in a game. Players you need to see some little details. If you come close to the scene, probably in real life you will see the object, even if it's foggy. So it was just missing a little bit of that. But overall, again, like I said, it looks like a movie to me. So nice work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really does. I think it nails the lighting and the atmosphere. Slate is saying this looks more cozy and welcoming if you just ignore the skulls, just ignore like the skulls and the voodoo dolls and all that kind of stuff, and then we're fine, guys. People are really praising this scene for like really good lighting, a good choice on the bloom. People seem to really love it. Like 5 weeks in, and this, damn. Yeah, it's in general, like from like all of them, it's freaking crazy to see what people can produce in like 5 weeks. It's not even 5 weeks necessarily, right? Because they do the production cycle for 4 weeks. So it's crazy. Some people seem to really, really love this one, saying that it's the best one out of all of them they've seen. So that's cool. And Horsepowered Man is saying it's from Pirates of the Caribbean, I think. Yeah, I mean, it definitely has some influences, right? Like some like creepy swamp where like you go to trade some like I don't know mysterious trinkets to like a witch or something. Yeah. The Asher saying, yeah, nothing cozy about this one. Yeah, but I think very well done, everyone. I think deservingly so. Um, someone
I'm,
is saying,
I'm
"Go ahead, Rishab,
yeah.
go."
I'm just curious, like I'm looking at the progression GIF and like they had crows and then they removed the crows. Would have been cool to have crows. Like, is there a rule or something that no living things in the scene or something like that?
No, but we do have the rule that they have to make everything from scratch, apart from
Mm-hmm.
certain elements. For example, VFX, and because you brought that up, right? We allow them
Mm-hmm.
to make it themselves if they want to, but they don't have to because
Okay,
that's not the role of like an environment artist, right?
true.
So yeah, be curious. Like, yeah, a crow could be cool, you know? Some like moving animals in there.
Mm.
But yeah, that's a good point. Let's see, feels like someone has like 200 candles burning inside. I love it. All right. Yeah, great job to the entire team. We got some of Will's comments here as well, praising the great atmosphere, the use of color, the really nicely detailed main structure as well. A great use of fog and a nice composition. Um, yeah, so great stuff. And then also saying that like the tree park texture could be a little bit low quality compared to the rest. And then I think this is like echoing what some of the other people have said too, is that it's very dark and hiding a lot of what looks like a really well detailed building, but it's kind of hiding in the shadows, so we can't even tell. Yeah, which is kind of a shame. But yeah, we got some team shout outs as well. So Joe, Malta, and Jack all got the Swiss Army Knife Award for just being like jack of all trades and making significant contributions, like blending technical and artsy. Because yeah, they did a lot of heavy lifting in the engine and they made like the whole scene work. And then Malta specifically made like all the rope splines and then did the post processing in DaVinci Resolve as well, which is really cool. And then everyone was really lovely. I hope that I can work with them again. And the team's energy was amazing. Oh, that's awesome. Would love to hear that. So that is amazing. Cool. We're getting somewhat close to the end. This is Team 12, the Wacky Wizards. Really cool stuff. Let me play out the video and I'll hand it to you, Sarah. What do you think?
Yeah, this scene was really nice. I love the shapes on, the tree. It's leaning a little bit stylized. That's probably why I like them. But especially those props in the beginning that you see those books, and then you see like a lot of the glass containers really well lit. I feel like it's kind of a shame those areas aren't lit up a little bit more because I really like that area as well. But then you also have these really interesting shapes with the tree branches going on. So it's for me again, it's like the focal point. Hard for me to focus on like where to look because obviously my eye is going in the direction where those tree branches is. It's like high contrast with the blue lighting. But then we also have this warm yellow bright light in the center. And then we have like yellow light happening, in that corner there. So I feel like it was kind of interesting, but maybe if the warm light was more located in the beginning and then it's kind of like leading to a cold area with like, those tree branches, that would have tied the scene better. Again, like amping up that indirect lighting. Too many dark shadows. Everybody, I feel like, needs to amp up the indirect lighting because usually in games we avoid black and white. Like these colors are not, if there's like solid blacks and solid whites, those are usually avoided. It's always like, softer whites, softer blacks. So yeah, I just feel like I could use some global illumination. And I was thinking maybe instead of that fireplace area, it could have been like this broken wall with like the moon kind of moonlight streaming in. So you'd have that colder area and you'd have like this warmer area inside. But when I was looking at the books, really well done. Whoever textured those books, they look worn and torn. I just kind of wish you would see more of those, the effort done on those props.
Yeah, 100% agree. There's so much love and just work that went into this, especially because I mean I was a mentor of this team, so I kind of have like more of a background into this team, like really trying to make things work until like the very end. For example, the shaders and the materials, and then really set dressing the whole scene. And it's come a long way from like all the way in the beginning and really pushing it in like the final week, where the team like really put in like all their effort, which is really well deserved. I do love some of the ideas about like maybe breaking up like the back wall even more to let more of that blue light come in. I think that's like a really cool idea. Maybe just having like little splits in the wood where you can kind of get like some blue light kind of peeking through or something like that. Especially on the left side of the scene. But yeah, thank you for the comments. Yeah, Rishabh, what do you think?
Yeah, I think again, like that cool and warm tone lighting, especially in this spooky scenario, I think that's getting done well. But totally agree with Zara on the comment when it's like too much going on. It's like you cannot focus on certain things. It's like small bits and pieces of lighting which is going on. What what actually doesn't work for me in this scene is the way branches are coming in and then they are only breaking the wood. It's like almost if you see the entire scene, everything is intact rather other than the wood. Yes, there are few papers here and there, but this is one of those scenarios in which, if you think about it, right, like when I want to create a scene like this, I will first create like in pre-production phase itself a intact scene and then an action taking place. What is that action going to do to my environment, and then working on the scene. So for example, the table, if it was up, and I'm just talking about moving the assets, I'm not even talking about creating new assets. It's like how the chandelier would have been broken or tilted, that exaggeration could have been there. Then this scene would have been even more impressive. So if you also look at the left side, there are these beakers, right, like this glass things which are consistently just placed there. It's like very intact kind of in a very intact kind of way. That said, time, man, like all of our biggest enemy is time, and professionally also when we work, we can do it till a certain point. So I'm saying this, and but the good part is like we all know, we are in the industry, that there is 5 weeks, like 4 weeks technically for this. What you have achieved within this time, it's amazing. It's just mind blowing. Just few things here and there, some easy wins. That's what I'm trying to find. Um, but yeah, really good job.
Yeah. Yeah. Time, our biggest enemy, 100%. Slate is saying, I like the chaotic mood, but also the uniform bottles on the shelf. It's kind of hinting towards the same thing, right? Where like one thing is really chaos and really violent, and then the rest of it is just like pristine, right? But Zoe is really loving the silhouette of the tree, like the way that silhouette is like highlighted. And again, like I know a lot of work went into that in the background to kind of really make that stand out. So yeah, the team has done a good job with these elements. This is going to be an interesting one. So we also collect some like data on the back end to just give like some really interesting, like just little quirky things out to people. So I'm gonna hand out an award for being the most chatty person, which is Alejandro, because he spent the most time in any voice chat from any person across the whole challenge. I think we got close to like 100 hours spent in voice chat for one person. So yeah, that's a lot of time dedicated to being voice chat, Alejandro. So yeah, interesting. But yeah, congratulations on winning that little sneaky award. And then Leo is also getting an award from the team because Leo was very helpful in giving a hand and to other people when things got a little bit too much as well. And that is also an important thing, right? Is where if you see other people struggling or you kind of get the feeling that they might be overloaded or something like that, how can you help them? Which is like an important part of just like any team challenge, or like even in the industry, right? Like if you see someone who's like, yeah, close to the edge, just being like, oh my god, like there's so much on my plate, like how can you help them? Like those are like conversations that we have. And then some of Will comments as well. He's saying intriguing team, really nicely set dress scene as well, and cool destruction effects where the tree invade the space, and overall good use of colors. So yeah, great stuff. People are saying, congrats, Alejandro, for winning like the most chatty person. And then someone is saying Alejandro the GOAT. Someone else is also saying that Leo was like a miracle worker, which is which is really visible, right? Like just really helping out other people in this case, like so helpful to the team. Cool. Let's move on to the next theme. Abracalagra. So I don't know, maybe the scene wasn't running that well at the end or something like that. I don't know. Is that a hint to it? But let's have a look here. I'll let you go first on this one, Sarah. What do you think?
Sorry, you were breaking up a bit. Is it
Oh.
me who go for?
It's Sarah this time.
Sarah, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's
Yeah,
all
you
good.
broke up right up when you said our name. Okay. So the scene, I feel like the most interesting part is that chair with the desk. For me, that's like the most interesting part, and I feel like that could have been the point of interest or the hero piece almost. But then we have a lot of three things being lit up. We have like the cauldron area being lit up, and then we have that candle against the wall. And you know, the window itself has like this black background, which could have been the sky, if anything. I know they were trying to go for like an underground feeling, maybe. But I think just having that sky and like, you know, some lighting coming in, that being the focus would have drastically changed how I'm seeing this piece. Because not only do we have different sources of lightings, but then the wall at the back has like this pebble, this stone texture, and then you have props against that stone texture, and there's like deep dark crevices. See, like this is cool. Like when I look at the desk close up, like it looks really nice. I feel like there's a lot of work done here. There's a lot of storytelling done here, but then again, it's like the focal point is getting lost, and some of the textures have a lot of little like noise in it. So just toning down like the normal or the bump map on certain areas would have helped. And then just focusing on like the main hero piece would have, you know, helped as well. Also, when I look at the candle, it would have been interesting to see those candles more near where they're working rather than like away from their workstations. So yeah, that's just my take on it.
Yeah, that's a good point. It also helps you just like focus like attention to like the most important area in the scene, right? Yeah, right. Okay, Rishabh, what do you think?
I think the quality of textures is really good in this scene. I agree with Zara on the noisiness and the amount of noisiness in that, right? So, for example, that back wall, if you see in the main render, it's like a lot of nice details, but like it's noise above noise, and then there's this multiplication of noise which is happening. So what it needed was like decrease in the amount of noise. For example, this chimney kind of a thing which they are using that material, maybe they would have used that instead of the back on the back wall, maybe made it a bit darker. That is what's actually the main thing here, and 100% agree with Sarah on the use of that candle on the right side. um because I think there is one more image, Timothy, maybe, in which like the candle is there on the right side. It's one of the main renders.
I think it's
Mm,
being cropped. It's being
yeah.
cropped in the
Okay. Okay. So that candle, if you just simply put it on the desk, for instance, just moving it on the desk might have been better. And also on the extreme left, there is this very unfinished roots or something going on in the render again. So if you have an unfinished prop, either just remove it totally, or just really hide it. So right now, what we are looking at, I think it's a bit different from what we are looking in the stream, but
Mhm.
it's just some unfinished stuff there. But texture work really nice. Just use of textures and how to use them could have been better. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's mainly it.
that's an interesting one because I do we talked about like a lot of the things that were brought up, right? Because I was the mentor for this team as well. Um I'm honestly not sure what happened. That maybe again the team ran out of like time, because especially those roots, they could have had such like a big impact, right? Because they add such like a nice amount of
Mm,
detail. But if they're not textured, then it's like, yeah, it's really difficult to then like oversee that, right? Especially because if you then go so close in like an image like this, you see the
yeah,
potions are like really nicely textured and all that kind of stuff. But then you have like
exactly.
the root, and that's the thing in game art to me, is that you can't do a proper in isolation. It's always related to like the things next to it, right? That's why texel density exists, right? To kind of give us like a rule of consistency. But the same thing happens with just like the texture amount and the texture detail, like you brought up as well, Rishabh. So yeah, there's definitely some good pointers, and you know, maybe the team thinks it's worthwhile to like polish it up before they then post it on ArtStation. I think it could be well worth it.
Yeah, I think a day or two of work. I'm honestly saying like
Yeah.
just 2 days of work on this, and this scene is going to be way better. I would say it's already really good, but
Mhm.
again,
Yeah, it's about
yeah,
like maximizing like what you can get out of it, right? With minimal input.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're saying, wow, I just came back to see a masterpiece. Yeah, it looks really beautiful. It's what I said like a couple of teams ago, where like we get to be super picky because like the rest of the scene is already looking really good, right? Like the texture work and all that kind of stuff that was brought up. And Escher is saying, I love the potatoes. Yeah, we got some beautiful potato sacks, like on bottom right. And Zoe's saying, I love to play finding objects like game in this environment. Yeah, that would be cool, right? Where you get to like inspect like different things and kind of do like a little bit of detective work or something like that. That could be interesting. I totally agree. Let's have a look. Some recognitions. So Rishabh, you actually gave this team the Visual Storytelling Award. Is there something that you want to add there?
I mean, again, like a lot of props, but all props are there for a reason. Like that's what I feel is like storytelling wise. Is this interior space, but so much going on. So much also left to imagination, which is also a very important part of storytelling, I feel. So yeah,
Yeah.
really, really nice.
Nice. And I also had the pleasure to hand out like 2 prizes as well, like 2 awards, I guess. One is for like the Energizer Bunnies, which is like an award that we give to like the team with the highest amount of submissions. So I can't remember like the amount of it. But like, yeah, by far the team with like the most submissions to Source Control was this team. And then also overall, like we gave Alejandro the individual award for like being the most chatty person. This was the most chatty team that spent like the most time together in voice chat, just like really talking about things, like really, really getting together, sharing ideas and all kind of stuff, which is yeah, really, really cool to see. So yeah, congratulations on that. Zoe's asking a good question. Why is Big Ben falling onto Tim in my picture? I don't know. Like it was just like an hour before disaster, you know? Like I'm actually not here. I'm just an AI talking to you right now. I got crushed by Big Ben. Let's see. So in the team shoutouts, we have one for all these are anonymous, right? But like honestly, I can't pick one. We all did so well, and I'm happy with everyone. After a team member we lost, we finished strong and together. This is also like a regular occurrence on any team challenge. Sometimes people just, I don't know, they have life circumstances or whatever happens. Sometimes people fall without like the full team at the end. This was the case where that happened. So that means that the team had to pick up for that too. And I think you've done really well. And then, yeah, a couple of Will's comments as well, commenting on the nice atmosphere, really high prop quality, strong set dressing, nice focal point and composition, and good lighting as well. Cool. We'll head on to the last one for this whole session. I will kick it off to you, Sarah. You go first.
So when I looked at the scene, I was actually going to pick this for the best lighting because I feel like there aren't a lot of dark shadows and the global illumination is perfect. When I looked at the main thumbnail, I almost thought that was like a concept like a concept art done by somebody. And when I zoomed in, I was like, oh my God, this is an environment piece. So really well done on the lighting and, the ambient lighting as well. Not a lot of dark shadows. If there are, they're just in the foreground, which I think is really selling it for me. I know what the focal point is. It's clearly that statue. And I also really love the wax melting on the mantle over there. I love the candles. If anything, I feel like the scale of things, like I'm sold to tell, like I think they're selling that the statue is huge. And when I look at the textures on the statues, I feel like the curvature map especially doesn't sell me that this is a very huge statue, because the curvature amount on that statue is the same as like the smaller props. So for me to imagine that this is a very, very large object, it's kind of hard for me to tell just through the texturing. I'm also not big on like just the curvature map kind of just applied onto the statue without like any thought on like how is it being worn, where is the weather damage happening the most, probably where it's exposed to the sky the most, because right now I can see it's still happening under the crevices, areas where usually weather damage wouldn't affect those areas, especially in the crevices. So I think they could have spent a little bit more time on the texturing the statue. They could have told some story, like they're painting it. Some areas are like clean, like freshly applied paint, because I can see paint on the ground. So I was like, oh, that's a cool storytelling, like somebody's like painting the statue. And then some areas like very unfinished. So yeah, if anything, it was just because the statue is a hero piece, I was a bit nitpicky on that. It is occupying like 30% of the screen, and it is a focal point. But rest of the props I think were really well done. Not to mention the modeling of the statue is also really good. Like I love the shapes, and the way it's done is really well. It's just the texturing on that. There's a little bit more time could have been spent on that. But overall, love the lighting, love the composition, love the focal point, and great work.
Yeah, amazing. What about you, Rishabh? What do you think?
Yeah, I think one of the strongest theme, as Zara mentioned, like for me as well, lighting was. I almost gave this like the first prize for lighting. The thing which like what Zara mentioned is really I think everybody just should understand that thing, how to work with the scale. Um, like what we tend to do is like let's say even if we are creating generators inside Substance Painter and using them, right? It should be based on the scale of the things. The damage on it, like how the weather is going to act on it, those should be the things. And I'm not a huge fan of generators overall. Like I know we might be going a bit technical right now, but the best kind of texturing and the feeling will come actually when you just do things according to uh, placement of the asset, rather than understand where is the asset placed, what is the opening, what is going to be the effect of it, what you actually did with the candles, right? Like it's the wax, the way it's acting on the table, and it's just mind blowing. I think it's so well executed. It looks like a concept art. It's like you painted the environment. That is like everything is done in such a loving way almost, right? Like it's so cool. It has got this mystery around it. Every asset there, this corn, you look at that garlic, and like it just comes together. The thing which doesn't work for me is the lighting on the ground. Yeah, this shot. Um, I think this should have been one of the secondary source of lighting rather than, like it looks a bit flat right now. So this would have been one of your chance in which you could have made more warm tones of lighting coming from it. And that is what I feel was a miss in terms of the entire scene. The foreground elements are really good. It has got foreground, midground, background in a way as well. So it's a complete scene. Just this is one miss for me. This ground, lighting on the ground, to be precise.
Awesome.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thanks for your thoughts. I mean, that's a good one to bring up as well. Yeah, that would be an interesting opportunity to potentially explore. Like, what if you make this into like a more prominent light source, and then see how that affects the scene, and maybe rebalance the scene, or maybe it's an opportunity for like a second lighting scenario, potentially even, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that could be cool. Those are some good points. But yeah, great stuff to the entire team. The attention to the props and the storytelling. I was a mentor of this team. I loved the way that they were just like always talking about like, okay, like how does this tie into like that other thing, and like really showing like the ritual that's going on, right? And like how they do the ritual itself. That was really important to them, and also how do the plants in their surroundings like link to the actual crushing of them, and like yeah, there's so many details in here which are like really cool. So yeah, someone saying, I love how intricate it is. And it is Olmec. Exactly. It is Olmec. It's the Olmec culture that is based on, which is really interesting. I think the most interesting part, at least to me, because I'm such a nerd about this, was just like diving into the culture with them. Because the first week they were literally talking about like, oh, this is what they do compared to like the more traditional Aztec culture, and like that's how they stand apart. And that was like really interesting to listen to them talk about it as they were doing their research. So yeah, great job to the whole team. Some recognitions. So Will gave this one the thematic award for being like as close to the thematic and being like a really interesting interpretation. And yeah, Rishabh, you did the same thing too.
Yep, as I mentioned, I think theme is very different. When you gave more details, I'm like, yes, it's actually they took a culture and then they represented that culture in using this environment, and it looks like it's well thought. Like it's just not randomly doing things there. So that stood out for me. Different. It's very different.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it stand out, right? And then the team shoutouts as well. It's just the whole team was like really engaged. That's also like reflected in the comments here. Everyone did a great job. Liza put together like the epic trim sheet, finished the entire architectural modular kit to an astonishing quality in a short amount of time. Alex did sculpting and the draperies. Katie did like Katie did like such a good job on like all the foliage and like the insane commitment to detail about like, okay, this is this plant and this is what makes that plant unique, and like the research that goes behind that too. And then Jonathan for sculpting the architectural piece as well. Yeah, the whole team was just great communication wise, and that's why the whole team kind of has like gets like an award for like being the bridge builder team, I guess in this case, because it was so good at communicating with each other that they deserve like praise for that as well. And Will in the chat is also saying that it was the most creative spin on the thematic, so I really loved this one. Yeah. And so many other people are saying like, I really like this one. It's so good. It's my favorite one. So it's really cool to see that, yeah, everyone likes it so much. Cool. Okay. So we've seen a lot of teams. We've seen a lot of work. What I am going to be doing now is we're just going to disappear for just a second. And I'm just going to do a recap of what we've seen in like a nice video. So give me just a set as we set that up. And then we can just hide ourselves for a little bit. We'll go on mute, and then we'll be right back after this video. All right, of course, this is the moment when it decides to break again. Let's give it another restart. Bear with us for a second. I got so much stuff. Oh, yeah, it really is. Okay. Go in here again. Let's do this. All right, now we go into the presentation. All right, let's bring us all back up. That was awesome. I always love doing these like little videos. It's so cool to bring it all together. So yeah, really, really well done, everyone. Massively deserved to be here at the end and finishing it all. But now, I guess it's time for the big thing, right? We have to take a look at who won in their individual categories. So we're gonna start out first with the stylized category. So with the stylized category, I have to do a little bit of preamble because we had 3 teams. We're only gonna pick one as the winner. So we are literally going to go into the winner immediately. So the winner is, in the stylized category, it is Team Spoopy. Congratulations to the whole team. I think it's well deserved. Rishab, do you want to say like any congratulations to the team?
Great job. Really, really good work. We already discussed like the composition theme was very strong, and colors, use of colors, unapologetic colors, right? Like I think that's what got our attention.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
really, really good job.
Yeah. What about you, Zara?
Yeah, I love the shapes. I love the style. I think if the lighting gets fixed, this is going to be a very, very strong piece on ArtStation. So everybody, please work on the lighting. But really well done.
Nice one. Okay. So congratulations again to Team Spoopy for winning it, and also for Helena for being the mentor of this winning team as well. So congratulations to all of you for your hard work. And yeah, congratulations again for winning in the stylized category. Ask you congratulations. Tiffany is saying, my favorite mushroom. Yeah, it's so cute. People are saying, congratulations, Spoopy. Slade. Slade had low expectations and all the projects like shocked me. Come on. This is awesome. Colors and the flowers always win. Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. It is beautifully done. So congratulations to the team again. Now we go into the realistic category. So let's switch it on over. And yeah, so with this one, we have third place, second place, and the winner. So I'm pleased to announce that the third place in the realistic category is Team Level Headed. So that's Team 16. Did an amazing job on making this Olmec inspired scene with like all the little details, all the little trinkets. Like it's really beautiful to see how it's come together. So massive job and like really well done to the entire team. I think it's really well deserved. And then we'll jump into number 2. So second place for the realistic category is Card Gang. Let's go, Card Gang. So this is Team 5. Done a really good job at making this like really spooky cards, like in the middle of the forest. With God, I love this shot. I can't get over this shot. It looks so good. I think the team did a fantastic job. And yeah, congratulations on like the final results. And yeah, making such a cool little scene here. Right. Now we get to the final one. The winner of the realistic category is lucky number 7. Congratulations, team. Yeah, any words from like the judges as well? Let's go with you, Sarah, this time.
Yeah, again, I think that this one was really hard to do without a concept because, when I look at it, it feels like somebody followed a concept and, to do this without a concept, to have those really interesting shapes and silhouette and the storytelling, I think, this team did a really good job bringing everything together and just doing the composition, the lighting, the storytelling, like they nailed it in all 3. So great work.
Yeah.
Yep, totally agree with Zara. Like it's just that the spread of details, right? Like what we have talked about, the composition, the like yes, the size of the leaves and all, like that also overpowered like what you did on the rest of the scene, right? So really good job. So well deserved, very well deserved.
Yeah. I just want to say I had nothing to do with the voting, right? And it also had nothing to do with the amount of like BE, like Easter eggs that there are in this scene. I had no influence in it. But yeah, great job, team.
Yeah.
Oh no, the call out. No, so great stuff. Congratulations, Team 7, for winning the realistic category. So congratulations again. It's a really, really cool piece. I think Vidar mentioned it, like when we were talking about this team specifically, it's just how well all the colors like mash together. And it's just a peaceful, yeah, just like a really well-balanced scene to look at. So really great stuff. Congratulations again to Team 7. Done an amazing job. And yeah, congratulations on winning. And then Tiffany saying, congratulations to everyone. Absolutely smashing work in 5 weeks. Yeah, I do want to put that out as a reminder again. All the stuff that we saw today was 5 people per team working for 5 weeks on a single project. So like all the stuff that you see, like even if you didn't make it to the top 3, or even, I don't know, even if you didn't get any like recognition or awards or anything like that, take the experience just for itself, because that is going to be worth more than like anything that we say here on this stream, right? Like you've all made a beautiful piece that is going to really add to your skill set, and you've learned so much, and you've all made beautiful things. So take that into account as well. You can all be proud of yourselves. Right. Okay. Just a couple more things before we round off. The biggest question here is what's next, right? So what's next is that you still have time to polish the project. You still have time to prepare the renders. The time to post, so this is like our social media day where we all be posting together and sharing each other's works, is going to be on December the 4th at 8 p.m. CET. Don't worry about specific timing. We will make an event and all that kind of stuff on our Discord, and we'll be making some notifications about it too, so you will stay up to date. And that also means that we are going to keep the source control active until after that deadline too. So you will have until the 6th to keep working with your team. If you want to push and pull updates and all that kind of stuff, you can still do so until the 6th of December. And that's when we will be sending out a notification that we will be shutting the source control down. Just a small reminder, if you already have the project on your PC, so what I would do is, and again, we'll make a notification about this on the day itself. We'll ask everyone to just like pull the latest changes so that everyone is up to date, and then we'll disconnect everything. But we will make announcements for that too. And then massive shout out for everyone for participating. We had 120 applications, 75 people got picked. They got turned into like the teams. So congratulations for making it to the end, for sticking it all the way through. And also just like massive shout out to like our judges here today, Sarah and Rishabh, for coming on, and then Will in the background also being participatory in the voting as well. So thank you both as well for coming on and helping us judge like all this amazing work. It was lovely to have you here too. Yeah, and then the next thing that I'll say is that the next challenge is going to happen in March of 2026. So if you are looking forward to the next challenge, that's when it's going to happen. Just to give you a little tease there at the end. And with that said, I think, Sunny, do you want to add something?
I do want to add something. I want to say a huge thank you to all of the mentors. They put in an incredible amount of effort, and that made all of the difference. And
Yes.
all of you guys, you all knocked it out of the park. Thank you all for joining us for this team challenge, for this finale, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one.
Yes, 100%. How can I forget about like all the mentors that we had in the beginning? It was amazing to have you
That's
all
why
here.
I'm here. I've got to
Oh,
remind you.
exactly. Okay, I'll hand off the final words to like our lovely judges as well. Sarah, any closing words from your end?
Yeah, I just want to say it was really hard to judge everybody. I just think that everybody did a great job, but when you're actually put in like to be a judge, it's so hard, right? And you know, in my heart, everybody's a winner. I know it sounds cringy, but it's true. I think doing this in 5 weeks is no joke. Every team had its like, you know, good points. They were so interesting to see how everybody like tackled the theme and told the story and worked together as a team. And you know, it's just a learning experience. From here, everybody's just gonna get better. So good work.
Yeah. And thank you again, Sarah, for coming on. It was awesome to have you with us. Risham, I'll hand you the same. I'll hand you the mic.
Yeah, I think again, like judging is something which is like tough, right? Like as a lead, I kind of do it almost every day, right? Like giving feedbacks and doing this, but this is very different. Like I don't know the context, how they reached this point. And that makes it more like what you see is what you get, right? Like you don't know the story behind that. Like somebody struggled, somebody got sick, somebody has so we understand that art is a very subjective thing, right? So you might not agree with some of the votes. Like we were also not agreeing with each other, right? As judges, right? And that's the nature of this thing. All I'll say is like I, I really appreciate like Timothy, you and your team doing this as a team challenge, right? Like as an individual, it's a different thing, but as a team working on it is even more difficult because in the end we will be entering the industry and you will be working in a team. So just be good with each other, just learn from each other, and whichever teams were really good with each other would have won. That's what my feeling is. Hard skills is one thing, we understand that, but you will learn stuff. So just work on those soft skills, work on learning. We do it every day. I think after being in the industry for so long, still it's a learning thing. So just don't stop. And this is a wonderful community beyond extent. I've seen it grow for a long time. Me and Timothy had worked for a lot of years, and
Yeah.
it's so wonderful to see what you have done.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy that we get to host this. I always do this every team challenge, but a massive shout out to Lloyd James. He was the person that came up with the idea. And then we kind of just keep fostering and keep organizing, and it keeps growing and growing. And that's because of all of you, right? Like all of your support, like really means a lot. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. And then we'll see each other in the next one.